When I was 7 years old, I read an article about the Reno air races, and I said to myself, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. That's what I'm going to go do. So I did. I immigrated to the U.S. by myself when I was 17. My grandfather gave me $2,500, and I pursued a career in aviation by myself over in California, and just worked my way up, became an aircraft mechanic and a flight instructor, flew small tail draggers, learned aerobatics before I had a private. Some years later, I started air racing, and I've been teaching and performing air shows and fighters for quite some time, and bombers and jets. So I'd like to say I've been pretty darn lucky. This is a very fascinating airplane. Joel Thorvaldsen flew this airplane in New Guinea in World War II. It was built in 42, shipped over in 43, and on September 13th, he got into a tremendous dogfight, and he managed to shoot down a Zero fighter and a Betty bomber. He also had a probable second Zero. But then he took a round to the engine, lost control of the propeller, and the engine finally quit, so he bellied it into a field. He tried to hack his way out of the jungle. That didn't work, so he returned to the wreckage, and they were searching for him at that point. So one of his buddies actually dropped a life raft, and he floated downstream for 5 days, evading enemy capture, and was eventually picked up by the Australians. The aircraft was forgotten, laid out in the field until the 90s, discovered by an Australian recovery crew. They went through a multi-million-dollar, 10-plus year restoration, and it flew again for the first time in 2009. I looked high and low for a long time and just stumbled on this one. It was a private collector that had brought it to Colorado. It took me 4 years of bending his ear to let me have it. I was very fortunate to be able to do so. I named it an American Dream from my own story, coming to America and making my own American dream come alive. The P-40 is not my favorite airplane because I have one. I have one because it's my favorite airplane. Out of all the fighters that I fly in air shows and air racing and so on and so forth, this is my absolute favorite. I love it the most. I call it the pits of the warbirds. It's just darling on the controls. As far as I'm concerned, it's the pinnacle of aviation.